Okay, I'm getting the cue to go. So last session of the day, hopefully everyone is caffeinated and ready for the next 20 minutes. So my name is Julienne Biglin. This is Tony Miller. I manage partnerships at Crisp, and Tony is one of our senior solutions engineers. Today we're going to talk through specifically how to build retail insights across your org using blueprints and Databricks Genie capabilities. So we want to start with who Crisp is. Do we have anybody in the audience who is a Crisp customer? If I do, raise your hand. Anybody in the audience already using the Crisp platform for retail data ingestion? No? Okay. Okay, great. So we'll start from the ground up here. We are a platform for CPG and brands primarily. And what we focus on is retail data ingestion from about 60 retailers. We ingest data into the Crisp platform on a nightly basis, and we normalize it and harmonize it. And we share that data with Databricks. We are a mission-driven company, so we were initially founded to reduce waste across the supply chain, but this has quickly shifted to reducing waste across the organization from a marketing standpoint, an operational standpoint, and a technology standpoint. We've been a partner of Databricks for quite some time now and won Retail and Consumer Partner of the Year in 2023. So we're really proud of the work that we've done together and the quick growth that Crisp has had over the years. We know that a lot of brands everyone is at a different stage in their retail data journey. Some brands are focused on manually ingesting data, while others have mastered and started to experiment with AI. And so what this represents is a roadmap for the steps that we think of when we're working with a CPG brand on how to get from top to bottom. And so I'll talk through it here briefly. Data Foundation focuses on automated retail data ingestion. Ingesting data from Target, ingesting data from Amazon, ingesting data from Dollar General, all of a brand's retail data sources. We want to automate that data ingestion. No more spreadsheets, no more bodies pulling data. We want to then focus on data integration. So the way that we work with Databricks is once Crisp ingests a brand's retail data, that's point of sale and inventory intelligence data from a retailer supplier portal, we're then able to seamlessly share that data in minutes, literally, via DeltaShare on Databricks. And building on that, we also build a centralized or normalized data model that helps to unify sales on Target, sales on Dollar General. If you're a brand that has hundreds of thousands of SKUs, it's very hard for you to reconcile that multi-SKU data in one system. And that's the model that Crisp provides. And then pushing forward, when we're focusing on data activation, we want to bring that data and elevate it in the form of reports, in the form of automated dashboards, and in the form of some of the AI tools that we're going to talk about today. We want to enable data across the organization and eliminate data silos. We want to break those chains and help brands to utilize data in every facet of their organization. And then as we're scaling, and as we're going to demo today, we want to talk about how we can leverage some of Databricks tools for AI, specifically around blueprints and Genie. It's not moving forward. Oh, okay. Here we go. So today, Crisp works with about 6,000 brands globally, primarily in the US, but we're scaling into EMEA, into LATAM, and beyond. So some of the brands up there you probably recognize, and we're growing and adding new clients each and every day. It's a little, okay. So we talked about these data silos. What we want to do is make retail data accessible across every facet of the organization. If you're a CPG brand, you're often paying retailers a lot of money to license this data, and use these platforms. If you're paying money, you need to generate ROI on those data payments. There's tons and tons and tons of data. If you think about a top 10 CPG in that slide before, and you're trying to reconcile data across 50, 60, 100 retailers, there is so much data, it's hard to know what to do with it. So having a partner like Crisp is going to utilize a platform to centralize that data and essentially give a brand a window into all retail behavior. And what it enables your talent and technology to do is focus on more strategic initiatives. They're not going to focus on pulling retail data from supplier portals. They're going to focus on using tools to drive faster insights, increase sales and profitability, and eliminate waste. And then lastly, we hear this all the time, misaligned strategies. So the marketing team is not talking with the supply chain team. There are out of stocks, but we're advertising where products are not available on shelves to be purchased by a human. Some of these misaligned strategies are what we're trying to resolve here, and things honestly that CPGs struggle with this vast quantity of data. So we love Databricks. They are one of our very favorite partners, and what we're doing is taking all of that retailer data and we're sharing it via DeltaShare into the client's data lake in Databricks. What that enables them to do is within Databricks create a foundation for all of their retail data that they can then utilize these AI tool sets to manage. So one of the reasons that we play really nicely with the Databricks Genie capabilities is because of the organization of our data, that normalization piece that I mentioned. So we ingest the data into Crisp, we clean it, we centralize it, we create that normalized model, and then we also build harmonized data model, which is a complete picture of all of that retailer data together in a single view. It's so highly organized that when we plug it into tools on Databricks, it honestly just works. We had a client earlier today tell us how easy this process has been so far with Databricks. Not only the data ingestion piece and the data sharing via DeltaShare, but also how nicely it plays with tools like Notebooks and Genie. So what we're going to focus on today is how we're using the Crisp data in AI blueprints. So for those of you that are more focused on the data science side, AI blueprints are templates, pre-built templates that brands can use to essentially have canned reports. So what we've done is we've built a library of AI blueprints, right now about 8 to 10 blueprints, that we can deploy around these very common CPG problems. So things like anomaly detection. There's just been some really weird behavior going on, and I don't know what it is. Running one of these blueprints can detect irregularities in sales data very quickly in a plug-and-play fashion that can be customized by any data science team. Weather and seasonality. If you're a CPG brand, you know that certain brands are highly impacted by weather trends data. So having these blueprints can help not only query and understand these trends while they're happening, but also predict behavior in the future using weather data. Store clustering. So this is also something where you can group different store behaviors, demographics to uncover hidden insights. And so we have reports for that. And then Tony, in just a minute, is going to focus on this on-shelf availability. The last thing you want when you're a CPG is to have someone go to the store and the product not be on the shelf to be purchased. So what we're going to do in just a minute is show you how this on-shelf ability blueprint runs in the Databricks workspace, and then how you can query some of this data using a natural language model with Genie. As we're expanding our blueprints catalog, again, we want to get to a big library of these types of reports where you folks can pull from them as you need and as you have custom needs. So this is a list of what's coming soon. We're focusing on assortment planning, just extending the knowledge that we have around store clusters. We're focusing on demand forecasting, which is a huge need. We want to give brands the ability to predict demand based on trends and the data that we're collecting in Crisp and sharing with Databricks. Extreme weather impact. We've had a lot of extreme weather this year, and so being able to understand those patterns and anomalies using this data. And then distribution and expansion is the last one. So looking at where there are opportunities to have products distributed in stores to, again, boost sales and drive profitability for the brand. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to transition to Tony, and he's going to step through how to do this.
Yep. So these are all free and open source. These sit in our public GitHub repo and are all available for anyone to go look at, analyze, dig into all they want. The idea behind this is that they're pre-built templates that can be used as is, as a product, or they can also be tweaked by internal data science teams and data science resources to maybe link with internal data sets that you want to bring into it. So it can be both a full-fledged product that you can just plug directly into Databricks and run, or your teams can really tweak it and make it better based on your business specifics. So this one in particular is looking at on-shelf availability. So analyzes sales history to understand expected velocity and when we're seeing gaps in sales that are identifying an out of stock. Also looking at similar things like that, but where we're hitting a standard barrier of maybe at 1 or 2, on-shelf quantities, but that keeps happening, and identifying phantom inventory as well. So this is super easy to take and run, where I can go from our GitHub repo, see if it'll let me double click here, and maybe I will copy it, go over to Databricks here, and essentially I just have to right click, go down to import, go to URL, drop that URL I put in there, and it will bring this Python notebook directly into Databricks, ready to run. From here, after it imports, it will bring in everything we just saw from that GitHub repo, and it's all available. There's a few minor things you would do to set it up, where I would put in my account identifier, that would be your account for Crisp, and your connector ID, which would be the connector that you've set up of the DeltaShare via our platform to Databricks for you. And from there, you can just simply run it. It's going to then have an output, which I then plug back into Databricks to then start analyzing some of this stuff within Genie. So taking that output, going back up to the top here, and essentially now leveraging that output of what's going on with Genie to do natural language search and querying for users. Now I've got a few things we looked at of very simple. How many alerts are there? What are those alerts by my different items? Getting all the way down to, well, show me my lost sales due to phantom inventory, due to those actual on-shelf availability issues. It can go as far as, say, let's map this out down at the bottom here of, I now put it together on an actual heat map of where it's plotted. Super exciting to be able to do this stuff, but it can also be very intimidating for sales leaders, for people in the field to be in the actual Databricks platform, which is why we worked with the Databricks team to essentially develop a very lightweight app where I can then tap directly in via API to Genie to say simple things like, how many alerts are there? Hit run, and it pulls it up. I have a few kind of an example of a bunch of these, just to kind of show you. I didn't feel like trusting the conference Wi-Fi on how it was going to work, but a super simple thing that can even be run on my phone if I'm in the field to understand how many alerts do we have in the state I'm in, the region I'm working on. I can just keep adjusting it. We can build this out much, much further. Like, this is very lightweight first introduction of kind of doing this, but I can keep going to say, look at it by item. All those queries that I ran in that actual Genie tool, a much less technical end user can continue to do that in something that's a lot less intimidating than being in the actual Databricks tool itself. It also allows you to not have to give them full provisional access to the Databricks account. You can manage a little bit better in this. You can also set it up where there are pre-configured, ready to run outputs that can be a click of a button to say, I just need to see my top 10 stores, item combinations, lost sales. All of this can then be downloaded into a CSV, however those teams need to go share, take action on it, and actually go use this. So you can kind of see as I was going through this of building some of this stuff out. Right now it's just got all of, I've got my store, my target store numbers, my product ID, what was the alert, whether it was zero sales, fin inventory, and then lost sales. I just need it to be a little bit tighter and an easier format, show me with 2 decimals, and it understands what I'm doing to be able to adjust the output to be a very usable format and output for teams to go take action on. So trying to take those really complicated things of doing all of this on store, item, day level, granular data, and still making it actionable for those teams in the field, for sales leaders to understand what's happening, and even be able to quickly pull these results in a merchant or a buyer meeting to be able to say, here's what's happening, here's where we're having out of stock issues, or if it's using the weather one, here's where we're having weather trend changes or gaps in inventory due to weather. So that's kind of the idea of what we're trying to do with this. Very plug and play, but also for those teams that have data science resources, edit it as much as you want, adapt it to what your business needs are with those blueprints, and then go expand on it.
And I think if you can still hear me,
Yep.
well, you can?
Yep.
This allows us to address those different personas in the organization. So everyone touches retail data. There are so many groups within the organization that touch this retail data and want access to it to, again, break down those silos. So executive level people, this is a type of tool that they can sit down and utilize, and we can build queries so that every Monday morning or every week they can come in and they can look at these queries and get the answers that they need to answer questions. And because it uses natural language, it's so very easy for an executive, for a layman, to come in and ask these questions. As we're talking about data scientists, to Tony's point, these blueprints can be customized and shifted around for any purpose that you want. And we're working together with Databricks to push that forward. So again, I think our goal is that hopefully some of these tools will break down the data fragmentation that's happening across these orgs so that every facet of the organization can see it and utilize and touch it in nearly real time. At Crisp, we're pulling in this retail data on a daily basis. So you can literally look at the data and understand behavior from yesterday to impact today, tomorrow, and the future with some of these tools. So we're super excited about it. Tony and I will be here for any questions, and thank you.